রেকর্ড হচ্ছে মনে হচ্ছে। দিয়ে দিয়েছি পারমিশন, রেকর্ডিং হচ্ছে আর কি। So basically, last couple of days we talked about the race services and all. So we'll discuss more on that. What exactly we talked about one operation, like we talked about gate operation. So we'll be discussing about other operations, other CRUD operations, like the post operation, the put operations, the delete operations and all. Then we'll talk about microservice, what exactly microservice is. So basically what happens with the microservice architecture, the service being a REST service, but how those services can communicate with each other and how microservice architecture is providing different functionality, that we will talk about. Okay. And then we'll focus on API testing part, then we'll talk about performance testing part, then we'll talk about how the infrastructure analysis is done. We'll talk about how the API testing can be automated. So, so that is what I thought of. Like, let us first start up with some demonstration, and then gradually we'll talk about those discussion. We'll talk about the code and all. So, will that be okay? So that at least first you have a look what exactly happens, and then gradually we'll talk about topics and we'll talk about the code explanations and all in subsequent phases, so that what exactly happens in those things you can have a visual representation. Okay, so that is how I have thought of. Now if you don't disagree with me, then you can probably raise your hand and stop me. So these are the topics that we will be covering in our microservice sessions, and we'll also talk about a couple of things, and few things we'll be using while we'll be integrating with Angular. We'll talk about that, and this particular stuff is not, we'll explain this thing what exactly happens, but this is the different area. But at least for the sake of knowledge sharing, we'll talk about this thing, so that if later on you work on this particular part, you can also understand that. But anyway, till this part we'll be using. Okay. So before start with this demonstration, let me just tell you what exactly the microservice is. Like, let me open that. Now, if you look at here, like, so for what exactly happened is like we are building services. Now you think about, we are having 4 groups. Each group is building their own APIs. Like one group is building API related to, or say, doctors, like all the doctor specific operations, like gate, specific ID informations, like updating informations, deleting information. So every group. Similarly, that happens with the hospital. Similarly, that happens with clinic. Similarly, that happens with doctor medicines. Okay. Now, what happens now? Couple of groups. Like suppose in your application, someone is looking to get information like if any doctor sits on a particular hospital or not, if that is the requirement, if any medicine is available on a particular clinic or not, if that is the requirement. So how to achieve that thing? Getting my point? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So till now what we last few days what we have talked about is like, say, for individual, say for hospital, what we are doing, we are getting hospital specific informations, So we'll talk about how to update few information. We'll talk about how to insert information. We'll talk about how to delete few information. So anyway, these are all REST specific operations. Okay, that we'll talk about. Why we'll talk about JP and all that. We'll see. But what I'm trying to say here, say suppose similarly that happens with doctor. Similarly that happens with similarly that happens with clinic. Similarly that happens with medicine. Now there might be a situation where these API is having certain dependency on others. Then how to achieve that thing? Now suppose I want to see, okay, whether a particular doctor is available on a particular hospital or not. If I want to check if a medicine is available on a particular clinic or not. So in that case, how this particular service can communicate with each other, that is the area of microservice. So we are having small services developed. We are having the intercommunication, like how they can communicate with each other. What are the things that, because what are the feature my microservice can provide me so that we can do a communication. We'll talk about that. So that is the context of microservices, where small services can be can communicate with each other. We'll talk about how we can scale it up, scale it down. How can we handle multiple version of that particular services? Like a service can have multiple version. How to maintain those version control? How we can handle those load coming to a particular microservice with some API gateway? How a particular service can register himself or register itself with naming server, Eureka naming server. We'll talk about that. How we can use our naming server for searching for a particular service. Suppose I am searching for a service, who is going to provide me that information? So Netflix Eureka is having a naming server called Eureka. So we'll use that particular service. See how the service communication happens. So that is how we are going to talk about. Okay. So that is what I'm trying to show. So we'll first start with one demonstration on a microservice. Yeah, tell me.
So then what will be the difference between API documentation and microservices?
API,
Like microservice,
no. You see, API documentation is about your service information. So documentation, what your API is doing, that is about
hmm,
API documentation. Microservice is like how your services can communicate with each other. It is a framework. It is an architecture. API is a
okay,
component, and microservice is an architecture.
okay.
Yeah, so let us see the demonstration. Then lot of questions will arise, and then we'll talk about that. Okay. So let us first jump into that part. So first we'll today today most of our session will be based on demonstration. Okay. And then gradually from next session onwards we'll talk about the topic, and then we'll map, okay, what exactly happens. Okay. So that and again after that we'll talk about how individual API can be tested, how the load testing is done. We'll talk about the JPA part, Java Persistence API. We'll talk about different operations on a service. Okay. So that gradually what happens, you can start building your own APIs. Whatever APIs that you have already developed one get operations, right? And that is with hard coded least value, right? So we'll also talk about how it can be driven from database. We'll be using like in memory database, but I'll also share how you can use MySQL RDS database, that is Amazon database. But it is recommended for the microservice to have its own database, and that configuration is very simple. That we'll talk about. So we'll talk about that part, how the database integration happens with the JPA part. And then we'll talk about how other aspects, like if I am creating an API, how we can have multiple things can be performed. So that is how the exact actual project different development work happens. So I will try to cover all those areas. It is not only about API development. It is about holistically how different altogether service development happens in a project, in a company. Okay, so whichever part you are in, you have a flavor of everything. Okay, so I'm giving you 2 minutes of time. So if you have any question, let us first sort it out. Then we'll jump into the demonstration part, and then gradually we'll talk about all these topics. So we have around 15, 16 areas that we are going to cover. We'll talk about few things like RabbitMQ. We'll talk about asynchronous communication, what exactly happens with the asynchronous communication, how to do a setup and all. We'll talk about service discovery and registry, what exactly happens with service discovery and registry. We'll talk about just giving, we'll try to give example, okay, what exactly happens. So suppose just giving an example like how the service discovery happens. Like you think about, okay, you are doing a cab booking, right? So whichever driver who is nearby, he gets your call, he gets your request. Okay. So how this particular API understand where to fetch those information? Or like suppose you are in an office, someone is calling, they don't have your direct number. What they are doing, they are calling at your reception, and reception is forwarding that call to your desk. So basically reception is basically a someone who is providing you the all information, right? Whether that particular service is available or not. If you are available, then he is right directing that call to you. If you are not available, that particular from the reception, it is responded like that particular person is not available. Okay. So these are all real life situation where we can relate that with the service discovery and service registration. Service discovery means suppose you have created a service, you want that service to be consumed. So definitely you need to register your service with some discovery servers. So in our case, which is the popular discovery servers is Eureka. It's a Netflix Eureka is a server, which is a very popular naming server. And suppose you are registered with Eureka, then whoever is calling, whoever is looking for similar kind of a service, with the help of Eureka, they will be able to consume. So that is how this interconnectivity will happen. That we'll look at, and then we'll also talk about how the load balancing happens. Say suppose I am having multiple version of the services, so how the load balancing
Sir,
happen?
hello.
Yeah,
Sir, please pardon the third point,
which one?
the Eureka one.
Eureka, will talk about Eureka. We'll show, we'll start Eureka. Eureka is a naming server. Eureka is a naming server. That particular server is responsible for like notifying that particular service is available. So whoever is interested to consume that service, they will look at Eureka for that service. Okay, that we'll see in our demonstration also we'll see. And then we'll talk about client side load balancing with Ribbon. So, and then we'll talk about one of the popular concept in microservice or API area is called API gateway. So API gateway is an interface through which the services are accessed. So one of the popular API gateway in that is again mostly came from Netflix. It's a Zool API that we'll talk about. We'll see. Then we'll talk about how the tracing in a microservice. Since we're talking about microservices, a lot of like thousands of services are deployed, thousands of services. Each service is only handling very small logic. It is not like earlier what used to happen is like we have a huge program, every complex logic is actually embedded into a single Java file. And that was that time structure was highly you can say cohesive. So basically what happens to the microservice, instead of going for that monolithic structures, what we are doing, we are like breaking that monolithic into multiple small micro services parts. So each service is handling individual logic. Like if I talk about gate API is only responsible for fetching your information. If I talk about put operation, the API developed with put operation is only responsible for updating some information. So they are not mixing up with each other. And we have kept individual operation in individual API. Okay. So similarly in your application, whatever application that we have today, we are having, just hold on. So in our application, what exactly happens is like most of the popular application that we have today, these are built with n number of microservices. So one of the challenging aspect in microservices is to do a tracing. How microservice, say suppose one microservice fails, how to do a tracing on it. So that is how we'll be talking about something called Zipkin. Is a distributed tracing applications that we have, that we'll talk about how to set up those Zipkin tracing. And apart from that, we'll also use something called Spring Cloud Sloth. Spring Cloud Sloth is a particular component provided in a microservice architecture, which is used for injecting some transaction ID. So in a distributed application, with the help of that particular transaction ID, we can identify, okay, this particular service is actually causing the problem. Okay, that we'll look at. We'll be looking at the distributed Zipkin setup and all dashboard. Apart from that, we'll also talk about some fault tolerance capability or the circuit breaker capability that microservice provides. That particular component is known as Hystrix. Hystrix is a very popular component, so that lets us know, okay, that, but say suppose earlier what used to happen in a monolithic application, say in our SOA, like earlier we used to have service oriented architecture, though that is there, but that has some challenge. Like suppose you have your order management system. Suppose in an order management you are calling multiple services, soap services. If any of the services fails, your entire order management transaction is failed, and your customer is not aware about what exactly happened. Instead of that, what we can do, we can let them notify, okay, something has happened, don't try to call. Once it is available, then we will notify you. So like we are just having a mechanism, there is no point in calling. We can have a formatable information, so that the end user, whoever is consuming my service, should be aware, okay, something has gone wrong with the application, instead of getting a failure with every transaction. So that is about the circuit breaker, or you can say fault tolerance. And we'll talk about that. That feature is called Hystrix in microservice area. So what I am trying to say is, whatever term that we are using here, everything is very well-known term in microservice world. Okay? So that is why try to focus on, definitely will be explaining those things, but try to remember this term. I will be sharing this point in the Google Classroom. Don't worry about that. But these points are very important, because mostly in our interview also they ask about this particular thing. What do you mean by this? What exactly done with this and all? Okay. So we'll talk about this thing in details while in our next few sessions, whatever we have. And then we'll focus on something called how the API testing is done. We already talked about few API testing. We'll try to focus on other testing as well, other operations also, that I will show today, and how those things can be collectively formed to do a automation using a collection runner. So that is a feature in Postman. And we'll also try to focus on how the collection runner can be used for generating a HTML report. So we'll see how the reports are generated, and how it looks like, and how to do a setup for that. That we'll also look at. Then we'll focus on, like suppose I have created a service, how can I do a load testing on that service, and whenever a load testing happens, how we can perform the load testing. So we'll focus on few areas, like how the JVM consumption is used, how my microservice call is basically detected during that time. We'll also look at the JMeter to give us a graphical representation what happens. So in our demo area, we'll focus on all this area. Okay. So understood? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
let
sir.
us, that is what I'm saying,
Yes,
focus
sir.
on the demonstration, then gradually we'll talk about all the topics. Yeah. Otherwise, what happens if I start with the topics, and if you don't see it, you cannot relate. So it is not so complicated. just have a look. Okay. So first we'll start up with, let us focus on microservice part. Okay. So we'll have the scenario is like, let me just, first we'll talk about the demonstration will be distributed in two parts. Okay. So demo one, what we'll focus on is like, then why I'm saying is similarly the assignment will be given to you. Okay. So that you can prepare yourself. Okay, okay, this is how I am going to do. Okay, we'll talk about that. So demo one part will focus on microservice communication. Okay, how the microservice communication happens, what exactly happens in microservice, with whatever topics, the Joule API part, the Eureka part, the Zipkin distribution part, we'll talk about. And here we have two microservices that are communicating with each other. We have a something called currency converter service. And we have
Hello.
yeah. Hello. Hello. Any issue?
No, sir.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. So what exactly this currency converter service and currency exchange service does, let me just tell you. Purpose of currency exchange service is like, suppose I have a dollar. Okay. So this is like, say suppose I have euro and I want to convert it to INR. Then it will tell me, say euro to INR is 75. And we have a currency converter service. Say, suppose I want to convert 10 euro to INR. So along with this conversion, I will have a unit. Understood? So if I use currency converter service with 10, it should tell me 750 if I am using the same conversion. And this particular service will have this conversion kept inside our database. See, euro to INR is 75. Now, if this value is, say, for AUD, for Australian dollar to INR, if it is AUD to INR, if it is 25, then if I call this currency converter service with 10, that should give me 250. Okay? Understood?
Sir, exchange part I haven't understood.
You see, exchange service, what it is going to do is like, it is just sending me the conversion rate. The purpose
Okay.
of exchange service is to just return me a conversion rate. Euro to INR is 75, Australian dollar to INR is 25, US dollar to USD to INR is say 80 or 65, whatever. So it will,
Baranda.
exchange service is going to give me a conversion rate. Okay? USD to INR is 65. So exchange service is going to give me a conversion rate, and this particular conversion rate we'll be using inside our database. And currency converter service, who is invoking this exchange service to get the conversion rate and then multiply the number of unit I want to convert. Understood?
Yes, sir.
This scenario you have understood, right? What exactly you are going to do?
Yes, sir.
The functionality, but here our intention is not to understand this logic, rather than focus on the architectural aspects, like how they are communicating with each other. Okay, and we'll talk about API gateway, lot of stuffs and all. Okay, The underlying thing is like we have two services. One service is basically providing me some exchange rate. Other service is interacting with that service to get that exchange rate and do a calculation and return me that value. That is the main aspects of this particular demo. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Anyone is having any confusion?
No, sir.
Okay, let us see how it happens. Then we'll see if we don't have that service, whether other service works or not. Okay, so we'll check that out also. So let us. So this is our demo one. Demo one is related to lot of things related to this particular scenario. Okay, how we can use naming server, how we can use distributed tracing, how we can use fin client, how we can use ribbon, lot of stuff, API gateway and all that we'll look at. And the second demo that we have today, we'll talk about various JPA related services. It is Java Persistent API, where we have uh, uh, we look at different operation related to gate operation, post operation, put operation, delete operation, and then we'll talk about API testing on that. Our service also you can do API testing, but since I have to do a setup for showing you the collection runner and all, so for this thing we'll do API testing on it, we'll do load testing on it, we'll look at how different thing should be performed during load testing, and then we'll also look at the collection runner in Postman, collection in Postman, and how to generate, that is called Newman, how to do a setup in Newman, and generating HTML report on that particular result. Okay, so this is part of our second demo. Okay, so there will be some iterative way of doing this demonstration. So this is the first day where I'm running all this thing, and going forward, whatever topics related to microservice will be covered, I'll be referring this thing. Okay, this whatever code that we have, will refer this two codes. Okay, and whatever assignment that will be given will be aligned with similar things, so that you can understand and do a development. So let me go. So here, if you can look at it, we have two services: currency conversion service and we have currency exchange service. Okay. So we'll talk about the code. We'll explain the code while we'll talk about those services. So what we are going to do use here is like we'll be using these two services. Then we'll talk about Eureka naming server. We'll talk about Joule API gateway, and we'll also use Zipkin distributed tracing server. Okay, so these are the 5 things that we'll be using in our first demo. And for the second demo, we'll be running. Sorry. Anyone was saying? So basically what happens, let us start with this. So what we'll do is like, we'll first start our Eureka naming server. If you look at it, the server has been started on 8761. Okay. So let me open the Eureka naming. So if you look at it, this is the Eureka naming server, the home. And currently, if you look at it, we don't have any services registered with Eureka. So if anyone is looking to have any service, they cannot do a service discovery using Eureka, because when Eureka is not registered with any services. Okay. So next what we'll do, we'll start those services. So that we'll talk about how to do a registration on Eureka using those services. That code part we'll discuss in our subsequent days. Okay. Today I'm not going to talk about code. I'm just showing you how in real world how this happens. Okay, the steps. We'll talk about code next day onwards. Okay, so try to note down the point that is shown in the demonstration. Okay, so first thing is like you have to make sure our discovery server or the naming server is up and running so that we can do our service registration and as well as service discovery. Now suppose someone has created services, they want to do a registration with the naming server so that other can find it out, because why? Otherwise every time you cannot provide the local host or the server IP to the consumer, right? So you need to have a mechanism so that it can be universal. So that is the purpose of Eureka naming server. Otherwise you have to do a lot of hard coding, and it is not possible when you have say thousands of services developed, right? You need to have a mechanism so that you can identify the service. Otherwise it would be really tough. Okay? If you have couple of services, then it is fine, you don't require Eureka. But when you have say thousands of services, in that case you cannot hard code all those values always. Okay? That is not a good practice. The first thing is like you have to make sure your Eureka server is up and running. Second thing, so we can see the magic, like now you can see none of the application is registered with Eureka. Okay? So let us gradually start services. So we can start currency exchange services. We'll talk about next day how to do a registration from the coding part. If you look at the log, it has started, service has been started with 8,000 code. Now it is loading because we have database connected with this service. It is loading all the DB part. We can look at it, JPA part, Hibernate. We'll talk about that thing. Now if you look at it, it is doing discovery client, and you can see here it has been registered with the naming server. Okay, and the registered instance name is this one. Let us see whether it has been registered or not. If I go back to Eureka and refresh it, I can see this particular service has been registered with this naming server. So if anyone wants to access this service, they can simply search at Eureka to get that particular application name and can access that service. That will anyway in our code we'll see how it was done. Okay, so this part is clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now let us start the other service, which the other service. So in our demo we had these two services, right? So we had currency exchange service. The responsibility is like to share the exchange rate. Okay, that will individually run those API to see the output. Okay, so you understood, right, what exactly exchange service is supposed to do. It's just going to give us certain conversion, so that we can see what conversion it can provide us. So if I go here and go here, if I have a data SQL, so these are the conversion rate that we have. We have Australian dollar to INR, that is 25, UR to INR 75, and USD to INR 65. So these are the conversion rate this particular service is just exposing. And currency conversion service is calling this service to get that exchange rate and then doing the calculation. So let me now start currency conversion service, and that has to be again registered with Eureka. So for that thing, what we will do, simple, you can, because lot of services will be running on the same server, so it is always better to clear the console before starting the next service. Otherwise, there might be some problem. And one more aspects I will tell you later on. In microservice world, lot of dependencies are very important. So initially this code was having some issues, so I fixed it up. So I will show you when you face this kind of a issue, how to change the dependency, because every now dependency keeps on changing with the new version coming up. Okay, so if you don't have the proper dependency, your service may encounter into issue. So I had some issue running this conversion service, then I identified there was a dependency issue. So that I will give a guidance how to change those things and all, so that you can like start working on it. Okay, so we'll start currency conversion application now. So it has started. So you can see it has been registered. Okay, so let us see whether it has been registered or not. If I refresh, I will be seeing it has been registered. Okay. Next part that we'll do is like we'll be running our API gateway. We'll see the difference what exactly API gateway does here, that I will show. So let me first run the API gateway. This is again a popular component that has been used in Netflix, and from that it came. Because this microservice pattern was initially developed with this Netflix, and the way Netflix got the popularity, other big companies also tried adopting this architecture. It's not like everywhere they are using microservices, but this is very popular technology development technique nowadays, with the benefit being like in microservice world, we'll talk about that. It provides you containerization features. Like, though we are not going to cover that containerization part in this particular training, so that will be an advanced part, but this becomes a foundation, because microservice architectures is very popular because it is cloud native. So you can scale it up and scale it out, scale it down without focusing on your infrastructure. So you can collectively make your container image of your individual services, and those can be directly deployed in your Docker. So that is why with the cloud adoption in at its peak. So this is why this microservice is popular. Now next, what we have done, we have started our Joule API. So it has been registered again. So this tree has been registered with our naming server. Okay. And next, what we will do, we'll start our distributed tracing, and we'll see what exactly happens with our distributed tracing. So let me just start the distributed tracing. Now, distributed tracing is not going to be registered with naming server. So that is for our service monitoring. Or distributed tracing means like how my different services are working, how they are communicating with each other. We have to trace it. So that is how deep in tracing is used. So let me just first start. Now for the zipping tracing, what we have done, we have created one RabbitQ. So RabbitMQ we have installed. We'll talk about that, how to install RabbitMQ. We first need something called Erlang, and after that we can install the RabbitMQ, and we have to do certain setup. So that part we'll talk about. So Zipkin distributed server has been started. Ideally, this server runs on 9411. So let us open that as well. Localhost 90. So if you look at it, currently none of the services has been traced by this Zipkin server. Okay. So what we will do now, we will run our services. So let me first show you the difference. Okay. If you look at it, our services, like if I talk about currency exchange service, this is running on server port 8000, right? So what we'll do, how much? Just 1 minute. Currency service. So if you look at it, so we are directly we are hitting the service. Let me first call them directly, then we'll call through API gateway. It is giving me the response. Now we will get the same response if I'm calling through API gateway. It's a currency exchange service. See? So here we are calling them directly. Here are calling them through API gateway. The same thing with this one. See, you've got the response. Now, if you look at it, this is sending me the this part, and here we are what we are doing. We are just passing the quantity, additional thing, and it is getting the response from exchange service, and then giving me the complete calculation. Okay. Now here the interesting part is like while we are calling them from using API gateway, if you can look at it, we are appending some additional parameter, right? If you look at these two URL, the difference being here we have appended some additional stuff, right? Hello.
Yes, sir.
So this particular part we'll discuss while we'll talk about our API, this naming server. If you look at it, the naming server, if you look at it, every application is having its own name. Okay? So this is the same name that we are using here in this particular area. You see, this is the same name. So we are appending application name, right? So that is the only difference. Here the application name is currency conversion service. Sorry. Currency conversion, and this is currency exchange. Okay. So if you are calling them directly, you don't need to pass the application name. But if you are calling through API gateway, then you have to pass the application name. Now, from where I am going to get the application name? Every service while we will be developing, we have to provide them application name, because application name is one of the important component that will be required for doing registration with naming server. Okay. That we'll talk about while we'll talk about our code. Okay. The application name is one of the essential component that is to be required in our service call. Understood? We are invoking the same service but differently, right? We are getting the same response, but we are calling them differently. One way in direct way and one through API gateway. Understood?
Yes, sir.
API gateway, we'll talk about what exactly API gateway does. An API gateway is like when you have thousands of microservices, an external consumer can be your other service also. Like here, exchange service is providing some services and conversion service is consuming that service. Now, if conversion service wants to communicate with exchange service, they are not calling them directly. They are calling them through API gateway. Okay? So we'll talk about that in our code. Okay, how individually services, like if I want to call conversion service also, instead of calling them directly, what I can do, I can use API gateway to call them on behalf. Okay, that is the use of API gateway. And Zool is a very popular API gateway that is used in microservice area. So every company, like for the MuleSoft, they have their own API gateway setup. For Dell Boomi, they have their API gateway setup, because API gateway does lot of stuff. Like it can do a filtration, it can do a rate limit, okay, how many services can be invoked. Everything can be. We can also convert, like put some security features on API gateway, whether the services is going to be invoked or not in a secured way. Everything can be handled at the API gateway end. Okay, so instead of touching all the services, what I can do, I can put all the filtration inside API gateway. So when the service will be invoked, everything will be handled by API gateway. Okay, so that is the purpose of using API gateway. Okay, so let us go what we have. So we have seen. Okay, now next thing, earlier what used to happen when we had the Zipkin index and we didn't have any service traced out. Now we have hit couple of services, right? So let us see whether those services are discovered or not. Now if you can see, we have all the services discovered, right? Now let us see what happens. Say if I am calling conversion service and go and find the trace, what did I get anything or not? I hit it sometimes back, so let me hit it again. Okay, to see whether it is being traced or not. So if I go at this end, okay, so this is the currency conversion service. Let me send it again. So I have got the response. Let me go and see whether it has been traced or not. You see, uh, this is the last sheet that I made. Now I can see I have called Netflix and then the currency conversion service. And if I open this currency conversion service, it can send me all the information. Okay, whom I have called, because here though I am hitting currency conversion, but currency exchange is being invoked through the Zool API gateway. And here I can see what exactly has happened, whether it is a quantity 10 euro to INR. Now suppose I am just changing it, so I can also see the JSON output of it. I can see the timestamp when this particular API was hit. This is the trace ID I talked about. We'll talk about that. String sloth is responsible for generating this trace ID. And then if I see, let me just change it from AUD to INR, say, or say USD to INR, USD to INR, and send it. So I'm getting different output. Now the interesting thing is like if I go and find that trace, this is less than a minute. So if I, you can see the amount of time that it got is like 4.16 seconds it took for getting the response. And here if I look at it, currency conversion service, it will tell me what exactly was hit. Now if you, why it is very important, if you look at it, like this is the back end, right? So in your day-to-day application, whatever application that you trace, you don't know what exactly you are doing, right? So like you do it randomly from the application end, right? Okay, suppose you are doing some calculation, you have click on a button, but in a back end, what API has actually caused that particular thing, that thing you can check it from here. Okay, whether this particular API was hit, because if you look at it, every time I am making changes in my API call, everything will be tracked here, right? If I go to the trace, what I'm saying is like if I go and find the trace for this currency conversion service, 3 minutes ago when I had this thing, I had a different input, right? I had euro to INR conversion, API was hit. And if I go and find that trace now, find trace, whichever is the latest, I can see my URI has changed. Now what I'm trying to say is here, like in your day-to-day, whatever apps that we see, it is just a call of millions of APIs. Okay? So everything that you do is in a backend, they have some API. So they are making a call. So this is a mechanism to trace those API calls. Like whoever has deployed those applications, the development team is responsible for looking at it, okay, whether which service is being invoked, which API is being invoked, what was the input, everything they can do a trace from the backend. Understood?
Yes, sir.
You're getting the background, like how it is being handled at the development end. Okay, so backend, whoever is a developer or whoever team is managing these services, they have a trace to this. They will just go and check, okay, what was the input? Okay, if everything is fine, they can say, okay, this is the time that is required. Getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is
Yes,
something
sir.
that is very essential. I am just giving, you are getting this opportunity to do this because in your, I think in your curriculum you don't have this thing, right? तो तुम लोगों का कैसे होता है मेरे को पता नहीं अभी, ये सब है तुम लोगों का करिकुलम पे, इस तरह से डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन होता है
क्या कॉलेज में?
in your curriculum, what I am trying to say, in your curriculum, do you get this kind of a opportunity of getting into what exactly happens in the back end?
No, sir.
No, sir.
That is what I'm saying. This is something that gives you some kind of a insight what exactly happens in our development world. Okay. So you, while you will be building this kind of a stuff and do like lot of explore with this kind of, you have a more confidence. Okay. So when you actually enter into industry, you don't need to bother about like whether people will say, okay, what is your marks? You know how to do a development. Okay. And do we, like, believe me, this is, if you can build a good understanding on this thing, that will going to help you out. Whatever we are going to talk about in this course, we are having lot of stuff, so lot of things are I'm working on. So what I'm trying to focus in to generate interest in you, okay, so that you can see what exactly happens and then you start explore. Your journey just begins. Okay. So this is about our first demo where we have talked about, okay, how services are communicating with each other, how to do a registration with the naming server, how we can trace the services using Jenkins, how to execute those services using Postman, how to change the URI pattern while we are calling through JPI gateway. So the same demo we covered a lot of different scenarios, right? So that is about our first demo. Now I am just giving you 5 minutes. Then we'll talk about the second demo and other stuff. Then from the next day onwards, whatever we have covered in our demo, we'll try to focus on our individual code and individual conceptual stuff. Okay. So that at least you know what we are going to learn. So that is the main agenda. So I'm just giving you 2 to 3 minutes to just, if you have any question coming in your mind, you can ask. Let me have some water.
Hello.
Tell me.
হ্যালো
Ah,
স্যার বলছিলাম যে আমাদের এই অ্যাপ্লিকেশনে যে প্রোগ্রামে যে পোর্টগুলো আছে না, সার্ভারের যে পোর্টগুলো,
সবকটা সার্ভারের পোর্ট সব জায়গাতেই খুলবে, ক্লিপসে সব পোর্ট খোলে।
না বলছিলাম ওই সার্ভার পোর্টগুলোকে আমাদের এক্সপ্লিসিটলি ডিফাইন করতে হবে আর অটোমেটিক্যালি
ডিফাইন করতে
অ্যালোকেট হবে?
না না না,
ডিফাইন করতে হবে।
এগুলো সব স্ট্যান্ডার্ড পোর্ট, মানে প্রত্যেকটা অ্যাপ্লিকেশন মেসড আপন তার সার্ভারের, যেমন যার নেমিং সার্ভার, তার জন্য ডেডিকেটেড পোর্ট হলো 8761, for Zipkin 9411. These are all dedicated port. So while you will be building those components, you have to assign server port accordingly. আর কিছু প্রশ্ন থাকলে করতে পারে। All of you understand Bengali or like you don't understand Bengali?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Understand. So that is what I'm saying. If you feel, I can also speak in Bengali, but otherwise, if like sometimes it happens like some of the people may not understand Bengali, so that is why I have to speak in English. And here also one more thing, you can see the total the duration, the amount of span that they have. The total span 2 means it the number of hopping that it does, like whether even if I am calling the conversion service, but it goes to Zool API gateway, and then it calls conversion service, and then conversion service calls exchange service. So again the call goes to Zool API gateway. Now if I extend this, if you look at it, first I am calling Zool API gateway because my URL is through the Zool API. Then it is calling conversion service, and then conversion service is calling exchange service to get the response. And while calling the exchange service, it is again calling through Zool API gateway. So that is how this span of 2 comes in. Okay. So the flow is like here. Flow is like I am calling conversion service SVC to Zool API. Then conversion service is invoking exchange service. Then it is that is again through the Zool API. Zool API gateway, and Zool API is then calling exchange service. Understood? So every time I am calling, so this is with the 2 service. So later on, while you will be building say 10 services, you can also have this thing. Every time a service communicate with other service, this should be through Zool API. Because if you have any apply any filter or any security, or if you want to do a rate limit, okay, this service can be called this number of times, everything can be handled at the authentication, everything can be handled at the API gateway level. So that is the practice in microservices. Like service communication should happen using API gateway. Now, how to do that thing, that we'll anyway talk about in our code explanation in our next session onwards. Every topics that we have, we'll talk about those things in detail. Okay. This part clear?
Yes, sir.
Demo is clear though. How to build this thing? So amra to we'll talk about that in our code and all. We have to talk about lot of stuff. But demo flow বোঝা গেল তো কি কি করা যেতে পারে মাইক্রো সার্ভিস দিয়ে। তো মাইক্রো সার্ভিস দিয়ে কি কি করা যেতে পারে, that part is I suppose is clear, right? I have 2 minutes more, then we'll jump into second demo. If anyone wants to ask anything, you can ask. ঠিক আছে, then let me jump into second demo. আচ্ছা, কারোর কিছু প্রবলেম হচ্ছে? If any of you have any problem understanding this demo, please ask. I don't want to listen next day your sir coming up and say ওরা কিছু বোঝেনি. I don't want to listen. I cannot help. কারোর যদি কিছু অসুবিধা থাকে, please raise your hand. Hello? ठीक है. Let me jump into the second. So before jump into the next demo, so what we are going to do in next demo is like, we'll focus on the JP aspects. So we'll be focusing on get, call, post, put, and delete on certain things, and then we'll focus on the API testing, load testing, collection runner. So let me just stop this application first. We have stopped that application. Let me start other application. So basically here we'll talk about this part because this application is more relevant to your case. Okay, this thing you can mimic in your own individual case studies, like for the hospital and all. You can use this application for building your own APIs. So here I'm not focusing more much on the this API development part. Anyway, we'll talk about the JPA. So, but here my intention is to just show you the API testing part. Okay. So now if I go back to here, so if I have created one collection. So here JPA testing. Okay. So আমরা যেটা করব এখানে, let us first see what exactly happens. If I go here, so I have a gate operation. Let me see. So basically কি হলো এখানে আমাদের তিনখানা data, we are getting the 3 data that is currently available. ঠিক আছে? So this is the same data that we have started up with. So we have learn JPA, learn data JPA, and learn microservice. Okay. So this is about the gate operations. Next, what we are doing here, we are adding one thing. Say, so here ধরো আমরা একটা add করলাম. So here we have added this ID basically it will be generated by its own. We don't have any control. So আমরা এখানে একটা, with the help of the post operation, what we are doing, we are just adding one data, and these are all in memory. ঠিক আছে? So if I go and send it, if I get 201 for post operation, the status code is very important. For post, you are supposed to get 201 instead of 2000. Okay? This is very important. Now, if I go back and go execute a gate operation again, I can see a entry has been made here. Okay? So this is about post operation. Next thing is like it is about the put operation. Put operation basically what happens, for this particular ID, I want to change it to some other description. Say if I go back to put here, if I go to body, say instead of learn microservice, I want to say I want to go for API. API testing. Okay. If I go and send here, I should get a response. The data has been updated. Now if I go and so this has been updated, right? Now if I go to say delete, I want to delete this 201002. So suppose I want to delete this. If I send it, oh this code, let me see. So you see that 1002 has been deleted. Okay. So here what I can do is that I can say এখান থেকে যখন আমি পোস্টারে কল করছি তাহলে আমি চারটে ডেটা পাচ্ছি হোয়াট আই এম গেটিং হিয়ার ইজ now if you see I have this list of APIs and I want to execute all of them together. Okay. What I can do if I am using Postman, I can go to this runner and can execute this. So I click here. So here I can select this collection, and here I can select one demo and number of iterations say one. You can increase the iteration number of times. And if I execute this thing, it will only one thing will fail because delete will fail. Okay. So other thing will be success. And what I can do also, I can also export them to a collection. Oh, just one more. Here I have collection runner configured. So I go to computer user ABC. Then I have an so master sample. So we have one report generated. Okay, so this is the my API testing report that has been generated. Now if I expand this, so it will say number of request that was executed, number of iteration, number of assertion that was defined. Now this particular how many test script was executed, every details I will be getting in a report format. So if I go and individually open this thing, I can see what was the output. So this is how you can do your API testing collectively. Like, so what I'm trying to say here is like uh, in an actual project, you can have this collection formed based upon the scenario. Say, suppose you are a part. I'm just giving an example. So I'm just giving you the flow how to build this thing. What I'm trying to say here is like, say you have you are part of a project where they are doing, say, order management. So in order management is a scenario, is a functionality. In order management, say you have 8 different APIs being invoked. So you want to do a testing with multiple iteration. So in that case, what happens? You can form a collection and do your testing, all the API testing in a single go. Instead of doing it manually, individual API, I can collectively form a data set. You can also do a data set. You can prepare your own data set and upload it. That option is also there. So that you can do. So that's, I'm not going to talk now. So if I go here, you can also upload some data before running. You can also select if you have your data available, some JSON data or like whatever input data that you have, you can also upload that data. That is to be applied in your API test. The way we are forming data here, right? For the GA, for the post or the put, we are forming certain data. So that data, instead of that, you want to say, okay, for the post operation, I will have my data, own data prepared. So accordingly, all the 1,000 data will be used for my API testing. So this can also be injected. That is not a problem. So this particular tool can be used for your API testing automation. So here I'm just focusing on how this tool can be leveraged for our testing automation. So instead of a developer is checking the same API manually, they can do automation on it, where multiple API can be tested collectively. So that is why it is termed as collection. And once the collection is created, CLI based collection runner is called Newman. And that Newman, we require certain NPM package that is to be executed in our Node.js framework. That is what we are doing here. We are using collection runner, that is a Newman run, and we have exported the JSON. JSON has been taken from the Postman, and we are using some reporter, HTML reporter, and some HTML template for running, for generating those reports. So that is why this HTML reports are generated. Now, if any business user, they want, okay, I want to see whatever APIs that you are developing, I want to see a holistic report out of it. So they can use this tool for generating this. And this can be integrated in our Jenkins job so that things can be automated further. So I'm just showing you, this is one of the activity that is being performed in our API development as well, to see what is the API behavior, functional behavior. So this is a part of, you can say, API unit testing. In API, every developer is supposed to do some unit testing. So API testing is a part of developers activity. So once you are developing some APIs, you have to do your testing of your functionality, if it is working fine or not. And this tool, you can do this automation to see whether your API is performing well or not. Okay. So in your case also, while you will be creating multiple APIs for according to the operations, the way we have here, like we are supposed to have our get operations, post operation, put operation, or the delete operation. And collectively, you can see after all the operations are done, whether you are getting the updated response or not. So you can have a sequence of API to be tested. and to be triggered to see, okay, every functionality is working fine. I want to see it in a single go. So I can see the behavior. Okay. If I can generate a report and if I go here and can see, okay, finally someone is saying, okay, let me see whether my gate is generating all the response or not. I can see, this is response is generated. So he doesn't need to look at the postman or something. Instead, in a report itself, he can get all the information. Understood my point? So suppose if you share this information with anyone, he or she can check, okay, this is your URL, and here I am running it locally, but in your actual case, it should be running on some server, right? So he can get all the information, okay, how the data got changed in your testing. So business people can see, okay, this is how your API functionality is fine. Okay, so this is how your API testing is done. Next, we'll focus on load testing part. So for the load testing, understood this part?
No, sir.
কেন কি বোঝা গেল না?
सर वो लोकल होस्ट और सर दोनों में डिफरेंस क्या था मतलब, और सर्वर साइड में?
What I was saying is like currently all the report that has been generated here, all the APIs are localhost, right? Because the services are running locally. But in your actual development, while you will be deploying these services in cloud or in your dedicated servers, they will have their own request URI. And what I'm trying to say is the business person who doesn't have any knowledge about Postman or anything, they are only looking at the functionality. If you can generate this kind of a report, by looking at the report, they can see, okay, how the data got changed in your testing. Understood what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
This is something you are doing unit testing, right? Now, if someone, suppose an architect in your project wants to say, okay, how you have tested your API, I want to see it. So if you have this kind of a report, you can share, okay, this is the report that I have generated out of my API testing. You can have a look at it. Then he can see, okay, this is how your put is required. This is how you have updated this data, everything. Understood my point, what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So this is about the API testing automation. Apart from that, we are having a lot of stuff in your API testing also. For everything that we are testing here, we can do some assertion. So we can also further, I am not going to talk about this thing right now. So this is the advanced part. So that you can do a further automation on it, inserting certain assertions and all. If this assertion fails, then you will say, you see, I have added this assertion, that is why you are saying one test result successful. Pass status because I have got the 2200 response. Okay. So this is how I can say how many number of cases passed or failed. So this Postman automation is a big thing. So lot of project, this Postman automation is one of the essential part. Now, if you have interest, you can further dig into it. Once you are done with this thing, then you can, if someone is interested, you can go ahead and further and explore that area. Okay. So this is about API testing is performed. I talked about collection runner as well, and we also talk about human, the CLI of the collection runner. Next, what we will talk about is the load testing part. Okay, if a API is tested, if I put lot of load on an API, how this thing changes. See that? So for doing that thing, what we have something called Apache JMeter, which is one of the useful a load testing tool. It's an open source. Test plan is like, say I want to do a load testing on, say, my Gate API. Okay. For this Gate API, I want to perform some load testing. It can be on post, whatever. I'm just for the sake of showing the demonstration, I have picked up one of my APIs. Okay. I'm just naming it as JPA Gate inside my API, what I can do, I can use some thread group. Now thread group is very important. Here thread group, I can see how the simulation is going to work. Whether I want single user to execute this request. Now I might have a scenario where my GET request is hit by say millions of users, and I want to see whether my servers is performing properly or not. Maybe any server level scaling is required or not. Understood what I'm trying to do here? So I'm to create certain simulation pattern. Okay, my number of services going to hit say 10 users simultaneously is going to access my GET request. This is about number of threads. ঠিক আছে, এটা বোঝা গেল না বোঝা গেল না?
Yes, sir.
This is about stress testing, right? Suppose you have created an API and API is used, suppose in application, for Amazon application, you are doing a product search. Now this application is used across multiple people, right? So at the same point in time, ধরলাম হাজারখানা ইউজার সেম এপিআই কে হিট করছে এবং দ্যাট API is running on a server, right? How the servers কতটা রিসোর্স দরকার, if accordingly যদি আমাদের এই স্কেলিং আপ স্কেলিং this cloud native জিনিসে আমরা we have actually moved in a cloud native stuff because of this because of addressing this issue, right? Earlier we didn't have this option. Now every now and then every application, every mobile application that is gaining popularity, it has been hosted on cloud only because we don't need to, because otherwise what happens, a big billion day te jodi amar অনেকগুলো ইউজার সাইমালটেনিয়াসলি লগ ইন করে আমার আগে অ্যাপ্লিকেশন ক্র্যাশ করে যেত, রাইট? So that is why they are thinking about which technology we can use so that we can provide them uninterrupted services. So this is a mechanism to see once my API is developed, what would be my API behavior, what would be my server behavior, to see whenever there is a load change. Okay, that we will try to focus. We are trying to simulate that. So what I will do now, let me just start with say 5 user. ঠিক আছে, নেক্সট হোয়াট কাপন আমি একটা ধর HTTP যেহেতু আমরা ইআই করছি, সো স্যাম্পলের জন্য HTTP রিকোয়েস্ট নিলাম, ঠিক আছে? সো আওয়ার প্রোটোকল ইজ HTTP, সার্ভার ইজ লোকাল হোস্ট, সার্ভারের পোর্ট কত হচ্ছে 8080, পাথটা কি আছে, here we are just providing in the path, ঠিক আছে? Path is this one, this is the URL. আমি পুরো রিকোয়েস্টের প্যাটার্নটা এখানে পেয়ে গেলাম, ঠিক আছে? নেক্সট ইজ আমি এখানে একটা গ্রাফ রেজাল্ট জেনারেট করি। ঠিক আছে, now parallelly what we are doing, we will have a look at here, ঠিক আছে? This is where my service is running, ঠিক আছে? This is my server log, the Tomcat server is running. Parallelly at my service level also, এটা হচ্ছে আমার process ID. So this is my process ID. Yes, that is we can check it from your JVM. Yeah. So this is what it can tell me the CPU usage, the heap usage and all. Now let me go and so we have started up with 5 threads, 5 users. এটাকে আমরা একটা রিপোর্ট হিসেবে জমা রাখতে পারি। So basically for this thing we generally have something called JMX report. Yes. Then let me run it. মাঝখানে রিকোয়েস্ট রান করে গেছে। So let me see. There is any change. So আমাদের দেখেছি CPU usage কিছু চেঞ্জ এসেছে। Now if I look at here also, so if you look at here, আমাদের পাঁচখানা না কটা কোয়ারি we have already triggered, right? পাঁচখানা user already triggered. Now what we will do, let me just increase the load. Say আমরা 10টা user দিলাম or say 50টা user দিলাম, দুবার করে মানে 100টা কল হবে। Okay, on the stage that simultaneously what we have done executed, let me go and see. So here if you can see this daemon thread as number of start, there is a change in a pattern, right? And if I go here also, you see lot of query, lot of select query has been hit, right? You can see, right? Hello?
Yes, sir.
You can see here the number of spaces. Now what we can do, we can do a different simulation, say number of thread is say 100. And we can also see that this is what we can see, number of requests, what is the maximum amount of time. You can also see the graph here. Yes, sir. You can also see the amount of throughput and all from here. There are number of thread extra what is. So if there is any failure, it will tell you this is the failure. Okay. So if I refresh it, there is a change. Number of requests, you can see it has gone. Here if you can see it has gone. Now in a visual VM also, you can see this particular thing has started changing, right? So this is how here also you can see there is a change in thread. You see 8080 lot of requests being called, right? So during our load testing, this is how we can do a load testing on our services. So this is I have shown you with one of the API, and for say suppose for every phases whatever API that we develop, we can do our load testing this way. Understood?
হ্যালো
Huh.
স্যার, বলছিলাম যে আমাদের ওই জাভা ভিএমটা কি ডাউনলোড করতে হবে?
না, ভিজুয়াল ভিএমটা জেডিকে এর মধ্যেই থাকে।
ভিজুয়াল ভিএমটা
ভিজুয়াল
জেডিকে এর
ভিএমটা
মধ্যেই আছে?
হ্যাঁ, ভিজুয়াল ভিএমটা এই পথে থাকে। প্রোগ্রাম ফাইলস জাভা
ও আচ্ছা স্যার, আর বলছিলাম অ্যাপাচে যেটা খুলেছেন, অ্যাপাচেটা,
আছে
অ্যাপাচে যে মিটারটা,
ওটা ইনস্টল করতে হবে,
ওটা কোথায় আছে?
ওটা ডাউনলোড করতে হবে।
ওটা ডাউনলোড করতে, তাই তো?
এইখানে যদি ধরো তোমরা অন্য একটা রিপোর্ট বানাতে চাই, তো সামারি রিপোর্ট, এখান থেকে তোমরা এই সামারি রিপোর্ট এভাবে দেখতে পারবে। ফর এভরি রিকোয়েস্ট ইউ ক্যান জেনারেট লট অফ ডিফারেন্ট রিপোর্ট। অ্যাডে গেলাম, লিস্টারে গিয়ে আমি দিচ্ছি ব্যাক এন্ড লিসনার দের, আমি অ্যাগ্রিগেট গ্রাফটা জেনারেট করতে চাইছি। আমি রান করি, এখানে মাঝে মাঝে ক্র্যাশ করে যেতে হবে, কারণ এই সার্ভার এখানে অনেক সময় ক্র্যাশ করে যাবে, নতুন করে চালাতে হবে। You can see the number of, here you can see that there is a change, right? Your number of threads is getting different while we are increasing the number of load, right? এখানে আমাদের অনেক নাম্বার অফ রিকোয়েস্ট বাড়ছে, যেখানে আমরা এগ্রিগেট গ্রাফ জেনারেট করতে পারছি। এখানে আমরা অন্য রিপোর্টও দেখতে পারি, অ্যাড করে দিতে পারি। This is how you can generate the graph result, ঠিক আছে, গ্রাফ রেজাল্ট জেনারেট। তো অনেক সময় হয়, most of the time say suppose customer wants কে তুমি যে API বানিয়েছো, the different load model that you have tried out, so you can show me the result, so you can display the graph result also. So this is how the load testing is being performed, so with different load models on API part. So this is how we can generate various report out of it. So this is, so here what we have talked about is like the development of API. We should not limit ourselves with our API development. There are a lot of other aspects that we need to focus on. And at the same point in time, ধরো তুমি এখানে গেলে, ধরো তোমার মেশিনে how the your this thing is behaving, that you can also check. Okay, আমার মেশিনে আমার কি অবস্থা যখন আমি while I'm performing this load testing. You can also check, because we can also check at the JVM level, we can also check at the server level. Server মানে আমাদের লোকাল হোস্ট। সাপোজ আমি থ্রেড গ্রুপটাকে চেঞ্জ করে 100 বদলে 200টা দিলাম, I'm just generating. What I can see here, I can see there is a difference. Here I can see there is a difference. You can see it is moving. Okay, so something is going on. Here I can see number of requests are getting generated. Here I can see graphs. Everything is getting generated. ঠিক আছে, with a single API. These are the different things we can perform. বোঝা গেল?
Yes.
So that is how this demo is all about. So we talked about API testing. Currently we are talking about load testing. We talked about this HTML API collection. So this part we spoke about. Now let me just. You can also সেটা হয়ে গেল। So let me go back to my stuff. Today I am not going to give you any assignment. What I am suggesting you, whatever things that we have discussed today, try to explore that thing. Okay, so Google karo. Okay, so we are having altogether 4 session. Okay, for this thing. So next day onwards, next 3 days we'll talk about whatever we have shown in today's demo. Okay, so whatever topics that we covered in our demonstration, we'll talk about the code and other aspects in next 3 days. Okay, then we'll wrap up this part, then we'll jump into Angular. And once these are done, what I will give you, once we'll talk about JPA part and all, then I will give you the assignment. I'll share this code with you so that you can start working on those APIs. And once you are done with microservice, then I will also give a scenario where you can, like, you have got 2 group, right? Say the group who is dealing with hospital, they can communicate with a group who is dealing with doctor, and the group who is dealing with medicine, they can deal with a group with clinic. Okay, one of your service has a dependency on some of the APIs of other group. Here we have a dependency on other. So this is how we can develop services and they can handshake with each other. So that would be the assignment. So for that, let me first cover those area. So once you are done with this basic part and all, that is fine. Then in your full stack application, we'll talk about our Angular, and then we'll talk about how to communicate with front end to back end service. Now that JPA, whatever service URI you have, that integration we'll talk about. That is in those sessions, so that you can do your handshaking. So if you have your backend services available, then integrating with front end is not a big. Yeah. Then we'll talk about our JWT, JSON Web Token, and then finally we'll have our exam. And then you have, this is the beginning. Then you have 2 weeks of time to build a small application, like whatever services that you have, that you have to give a complete thing. Yeah. So that is the thing. Now for that thing, 2 weeks, whatever you can develop, then you can have to, like, you have to do your brainstorming, okay, how to build those services, what are the services required. That is up to you. I'm just giving it to you, okay, what is the best possible way you can build your service and build a small application, because half of the application is already built. Okay, we are creating 4 services, we are doing an integration on the services, so my application, I can perform this functionality, right? So it is again just teaching. If the number of services becomes more, so I can build the service, I can stitch it out. That is the main objective. Okay. So that an exam will have us like MQ type, like multiple choice MCQ type questions shared in our Google Drive, like Google Classroom, and that you can submit. And based upon that, your I'll give my feedback, and then this is how they are going to do assessment. That is up to your mentors or the teachers. And then I'll talk with Rajiv sir, whether we want to continue with some other thing. Then accordingly, because this is the agenda for this summer training. Yeah. So next, once you have your exam and things are done, then probably we'll focus on some other aspects. So that is the part. We are planning to wrap it by July. Okay. 2 weeks of time you can have, we'll have. So early you start, it would be easier for you to complete by that time. So now it is the high time you start exploring those things to clear your concept, because understanding the concept is very important. I will give you code reference. I am here to explain you out, but my thing is like entirely depends on how you are going to grasp it. That is the main thing. I have shown you a lot of stuff, but my suggestion is like try to explore as much as possible, because these are very interesting. Get it? So we can wrap it now. So next session will be on Friday. Yeah. So I will be starting the meeting. You just inform your Ria or what is the other guy? Arjun kya chahiye na? Hello?
রুদ্র স্যার
হ্যাঁ,
রুদ্র স্যার
রুদ্র স্যার বা রিয়া ম্যাডামকে বলে দিও আমি জুমে মিটিংটা স্টার্ট করব, ঠিক আছে? আমি ওই
ঠিক আছে স্যার
মিটিংটা আমি পাঠিয়ে দেবো। অ্যাজ অফ নাও ফ্রাইডে থাকছে, ঠিক আছে? যদি কিছু চেঞ্জ হয় আমি গ্রুপে পোস্ট করে দেবো।
স্যার 4টে থেকে 6টা তো?
হ্যাঁ, এখন অবধি সেটাই টাইম, 4টে থেকে 6টা। যদি কিছু চেঞ্জ হয় আমি জানিয়ে দেবো।
ঠিক আছে স্যার।
ঠিক আছে
Sir, class will be on Monday and Wednesday.
ক্লাস এই সপ্তাহের জন্য তো আজকে বুধ আর শুক্র হলো, নেক্সট সপ্তাহে মানডে ওয়েডনেসডে হবে। কোনো সপ্তাহে যদি চেঞ্জ হয় মঙ্গল বৃহস্পতিবার আমি জানিয়ে দেবো, ঠিক আছে?
Okay, sir.
রেকর্ডিংটা হচ্ছিল, এটা কি রেকর্ডিং হয়েছে? রেকর্ডিংটা সেভ হয় কোথায়?
স্যার ওটাকে ক্লোজ, মিটিংটা স্টপ হলে অটোমেটিক্যালি ওখানে পার্সেন্টেজ হতে থাকবে, রেকর্ডিংটা অটোমেটিক্যালি আপনার এতে গিয়ে সেভ হয়ে যাবে। এখানে জুমটা হচ্ছে।
আই এম স্টপ রেকর্ডিং, ঠিক আছে? তো আজকে ডিসকাস করে নি।
স্যার রেকর্ডিংটা একটু শেয়ার করে দেবেন তো আমাদের গ্রুপে।
আমি দেখি সেভ হলে পরে আমি গ্রুপে শেয়ার করব, মানে আমি
গুগল ড্রাইভে দিয়ে দেবেন।
ঠিক আছে? সো আই এম স্টপিং ইট।